music group. Lab Addicts Music Group. Lab Addicts Music Group.
What's goody? What's goody? What's goody? What's goody? It's your boy Maas Apeal, and it's Tuesday night. It's Tuesday, and you already know we got to give thanks to the Most High. So, thanks to the Most High for allowing us to see another day, another sunrise, another sunset, another chance to love on the people who we cherish. Now, with that being said, this is the first episode of Color Codes, the racism series. And episode one is y'all said there was no more racism. And that's what makes this moment fascinating to me. Because I'm watching younger people who have largely said that racism is it's not here anymore. There is no more racism. But watching these young people encounter some of the things that people my age and most certainly our parents and grandparents already recognize. And they're shocked. They're shocked because for the most part, they have never encountered overt racism. And I will say that we have made tremendous progress in this country from where we were. And we should acknowledge that. But somewhere along the way, the story about racism changed from America has made progress against racism to America had basically solved racism. And those aren't the same statement. They're they're nowhere near the same statement. You know, people saw the election of Barack Obama. And with that, a lot of people started talking about post racial America. Companies had DEI departments. Everybody was learning what words they could say and what words they couldn't say. Lots of sectors in society have become more diverse. Interracial couples are on TV selling cereal. And apparently, that meant racism packed its shit up and left America. Wrong. Because racism didn't necessarily disappear. Some of it became socially expensive to express publicly. And that's different. And now we're watching the change of, we're watching social cost change. We're seeing people say things publicly that 10 years ago they might only say around people they trusted. We're seeing racial provocation become content. We're seeing algorithms reward outrage. And we're seeing people publicly build audiences by deliberately pissing off Black people. Deliberately. And we're seeing a generation discover something uncomfortable that your parents and your grandparents weren't lying to you about America's racist past. And I'll say this color code series is not going to be 2 hours for the next few weeks of saying white people are bad. Nah, that's not what this is. We're going everywhere. Black people gonna get examined. White people most definitely gonna get examined. Politics is gonna get examined. The media is gonna get examined. DEI is gonna get examined. Interracial dating is gonna get examined. And most definitely the workplace is gonna get examined. And sometimes, yeah, we're gonna say, yeah, that shit's racist. And sometimes, no, you didn't experience racism. Somebody just told your ass no. Because if we're going to have an adult conversation about racism, we're going to have the whole conversation, not just part of it. And this is Color Codes, the racism series. So, yeah, we are going to examine racism because this generation now, word salad, what it do, what it do. This generation, the youngsters now, they really believed that racism was over. And it was funny because everybody was reading into it. Everything was just jolly good. Everybody was happy. Nobody had a care in the world. Sleepy Biden was sleeping. And Donald Trump was just a dude with a bad toupee. They had a TV show. In a matter of 2.5 years, America has flipped upside down. And a lot of people will say, oh, that's just politics. But it goes much, much, much deeper than just politics. Because you can say Donald Trump isn't racist, or, you can say whatever. He can talk about the people that he's been cool with. He could talk about the people that he's been cool with and, his black friends and black this and black that. But there are sections of America, Squirt Mama. There are sections of America that have used President Trump's legislation his disdain for DEI as ways to overtly or covertly express racism. And look to this administration as validation. That is the world that we live in. So for the next few weeks, we are going to look at racism with a fine-tooth comb. We're going to look at if black people actually can be racist. We're going to look at it. And we're going to talk about it. And hopefully there will be some of my white constituents that will be in here to join the conversation, because everybody's opinion is warranted. But we're going to examine these things, and we're going to look at these things. We're going to look at the media. We're going to look at the administration. We're going to look at black people. We're going to look at white people. We're going to look at Chinese people. We're going to look at self on self hate. We're going to look at colorism. We're going to look at the African diaspora. We're most definitely going to look at legislation. And we're also going to examine the nuances, the passive aggressiveness of racism, and how racism is utilized. How it's utilized. We're gonna cover all these topics over the next few weeks, Tuesdays and Thursdays, because and the reason that I want to have this conversation is because racism has changed. It gets mature just like people do. So we're going to look at how it's changed from sicking dogs and putting water hoses on you to now it's stopping you from being able to get a job, stopping you from being able to get a house, stopping you from being able to get an affordable interest rate. As well as people walking around saying nigger this, nigger that, nigger, 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 nigger. We're most definitely gonna look at that too. You right. You right, Squirt Mama. You 100% right. But whenever we talk about things like this, we're not talking about the good. We're talking about the bad. And we're also going to look at how groups like the KKK, the Proud Boys, and other groups have basically taken the back seat. And they've allowed the followers who live by their doctrines are out here now creating content and making money off of racism. And we're also going to look at how when people get persecuted for being racists, how anonymous people come out of nowhere and give these people thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars for being racist. So yeah, these next few weeks are going to be sometimes intense, always educational, and a learning mechanism going forward. And we also have to look at today's climate because we have lots of mixed race children. Lots of mixed race children. And depending on which side of the family they grow up on, they can have two different outlooks on life. So we're going to talk about these dynamics and how they fit into racism in today's society. Because multiracial children aren't exempt from racism. And you could say they probably get it bad from both sides. We're going to look at these things. Wow. So, yeah, we're going to have these uncomfortable conversations for the next few weeks. Because the racists have been very, very comfortable in how they've been going about their business of being racist. This generation didn't necessarily grow up believing prejudice literally didn't exist. But much of mainstream media presented it in such a way as to give the impression that all racism is a thing of the past. People don't think like that anymore. Everybody is equal. And that's considerably different than how America was expressed in the past. Now we've all heard the stories about smallpox and putting the stuff in Jim Crow and sicking German shepherds on black people and putting high-powered water hoses on black people and denying black people affordable housing and denying black people loans, housing loans. We've talked about all that. Why is it that this younger generation before Trump really thought that racism was gone? What would is it because for the most part racism and dealing with racism isn't a topic that you really black people talk about at the dinner table? Should black people have conversations with their children about, I mean, some families do, but for the most part, racism isn't something that you talk about at the dinner table. It's not, it's not something that we're gonna eat dinner and we're gonna talk about racism and how you deal with it. But are these things, with how education is going and with them basically trying to wipe everything involving racism, slavery, Jim Crow, trying to wipe all that stuff out of history to sanitize history? Why don't we have those conversations? What is the reasoning that you all think that this generation is so indifferent to racism? Why is that? Why? What is it about society in this generation that had people saying that racism was dead? What was it? I really want to know because I cannot. Obama went in the presidency, but I wouldn't say Obama winning the presidency stopped racism. And I don't understand how the media could frame it that way when every week there was somebody saying something of a racist tone towards President Obama. So I think it's a misnomer that the media tried to portray Obama's presidency as the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of racism. No, because even after Obama became president, he had to deal with people saying crazy stuff about him for 8 years. They said his wife is a man. They said he's a monkey. They said his birth certificate was fake. They got mad that he wore a brown suit. You can't make this shit up. They got mad at Obama because he wore a brown suit. So to say that Obama's presidency was the gateway to non-racism is a misnomer. So if it's not Obama's presidency, what is it that was the flashpoint that said that racism is dead? Usually when something happens like that, when an institution that has been prevalent for time, for eons, since the beginning, there's something that happened that ended that. America doesn't have that. The only thing that I can think of in terms of something happening where this event was the flashpoint to difference was when the Berlin Wall came down. Racism doesn't have a Berlin Wall moment. So what happened? What event occurred that said racism is dead? What event? So if there is no event, this is a construct that is just made up. And a lot of people fell for it. They tripping in the comments. But yeah, can anybody tell me what moment happened? What moment happened that said racism's dead? And like I said, there has not been an event like that. There is no event that we can say this was a flashpoint to racism ended. That right there lets you know that PR, public relations, through the media, through propaganda, perpetuated this while nothing changed. While nothing changed. So why is it that this generation believes there is no such thing as racism? And I'll tell you why. To me, and it has nothing to do with racism. The reason that they said that racism was dead was because the acceptance of the rainbow people. Because racism and the rainbow people is always tied together. We were born into this skin color, we were born into it. The rainbow people, that's the way of life. That's a choice. That's the real reason why there's no hate. It's all love and such, no racism, is because of the rainbow people. It has nothing to do with black white relations, how white people treat black people. It has nothing to do with that. It's how rainbow people are accepted in society now, where once they were outliers, now they're the majority. The rainbow people are no longer, they don't have to hide anymore. They don't have to hide. Life is grand for them because they utilized the Civil Rights Acts. It's funny how fringe groups can utilize the Civil Rights Acts and do things that black people have never been able to do. That lets you know that it's a construct. It's a construct of appeasement. YWG said them saying racism is dead was a talking point to kiss white people's asses and be electable. Look at all those coons. Clarence Byron. Hodge twins. Yeah. Racism never died. It just changed again. The big groups, the KKKs, the Proud Boys, the big groups, they no longer even talk in public. They don't do anything in public. They don't come out. They don't make statements on anything. They have followers who are out here on YouTube, Chud the Builders buddies, out here spewing hate, calling people niggers, and yeah. Now, right now, we're talking about overt. We're talking about in your face, the Chud the Builder. We're talking about racism. But we're going to talk about the other side, the other face of racism that's out there now. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. But right now, I go back to the statement. We're going to talk about it. I made a statement at the beginning of the show. And I said, can black people be racist? And I got 2 votes. One person said, yes, black people can be racist. One people said, no, black people can't be racist. Because in order for us to have this conversation, we have to have a basis of what is racist and what is bigotry. They're two different things. They're not the same. We have to have a firm, before we can go any further in this conversation, we have to have a firm understanding of what is racism and what is bigotry. And Word Salad said, Black people cannot be racist. It's impossible. I'm going to have to ask you to follow up on that, YWG. I'm going to have to ask you to follow up on that. And the reason I need you to follow up on that is, why is it impossible, even if Black people cannot be racist, why is it impossible? Because there are Black people that have power. But you know, when for these conversations, unless we're talking about the African diaspora, we are specifically talking about Black Americans. Yeah, I need you to follow up on that, Word Salad. How is it impossible? Now, I may agree with you, but you already know we deal in facts. We don't deal in emotions, or you said it and that's what it is. But why would you say it's impossible for Black people to be racist? Now, I'll tell you my reasoning on why I say that Black people can't be racist. I'll hold my thought. Word Salad said, by definition of the word racist, you must have the power to deprive a group of people from resources. And that's what I was going to say. And by definition, Black people do not have the power to deprive a group of people from resources. Word Salad, you the wordsmith of the Word Salad. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give you a wrench, Word Salad. But Word Salad, can you tell me what the definition of bigotry is? Do that for me while I give you a wrench. And what is the difference between? I mean, I'll tell you. Racism is having the power to deprive a group of people from resources, promotion, education, things of that nature. Whereas bigotry is, I just don't like. I don't like you because of your color. Now, I don't have no power to do anything, but I can just say, I hate you. That's bigotry. Bigotry is racism with no power. You could, racism light. Racism with no power is bigotry. Word salad said bigotry is the hate of a particular group. Yeah, it's just words. Bigotry is just words with no action or power behind it. So, with that being said, we've defined what racism is and we've defined what bigotry is. Can only corporations, legislation, governments, corporate can are these the only entities that can be racist? And if so, when people call somebody a racist, is that the wrong definition to use? Because racism we defined as having the power to deprive a group of people from resources, governments, companies, educational systems. Can only those types of entities be racist? And if so, is it the wrong use of the word racist to call an individual person a racist? Can an individual person be a racist? Or are they just a bigot? I'm asking these questions, y'all. Yeah. Word Salad said the entire system of America is racist to the core. It's in them folks' culture. They cannot help them. But what I'm saying is, America is racist, but are the people who follow racist ideologies racist or just bigots? Because a person, an individual person, doesn't have the power to stop a group of people from doing anything. And if that's the case, can racist be a noun and an adjective? You could say that bigot has racist ways, but can that bigot be a racist? I'm just asking questions. Is the word racist a noun and an adjective? You can use the word racist to describe a person. Their ways make them like a racist. But if this person doesn't have any power, Are they just a bigot with racist ways? I'm just asking questions. Because before we go deep into this conversation, we have to have a firm understanding of what a racist is and what a bigot is. They are parallel, but they're not the same. YWG said, as a group, they have the power, but they are truly outnumbered because of the planet. They are the only group that is their hue. If the world woke up, they would be through tomorrow. Old news. That's the way you could look at it. There are more melanated people on the earth as a whole compared to Caucasians. There's no doubting, there's no denying that. But all of those melanated groups don't get along. And some of those melanated groups consider themselves European and they're not with us anyway. Do you think that was done purposely? Because if you keep the melanated people separated and infighting, they'll never come together to defeat the tyranny. Is that safe to say? You're talking about Americans. Is that what you're speaking of? Word salad? Americans? Or the American way? Because there's lots of videos people come out saying that people don't like them. I've been out of the country plenty of times and I've never had anyone come up to me and say, "You dirty Americans." I've never had nobody come up. Now, I have had people ask about how is it living under Trump? And you have to be honest with them, but I have not experienced anyone coming up to me and saying Americans are bad. I've experienced people come up to me and say Trump is bad. Trump is racist. I have had, yeah. So I apologize, y'all. I apologize with the yawning, but yeah, I'm burning the candle at both ends. And I had some notes, and basically I said, you'll hear black people say, black people can't be racist. Black people can be prejudiced or bigoted, but racism requires power. I think that's a true statement. And then you'll hear people, some black people, you'll hear them say, bullshit. If you hate somebody because they're white, that's racism. No, that's not racism. That's bigotry. That's bigotry. Prejudice is a preconceived judgment about a group or person. Bigotry is an obstinate, intolerant attachment to prejudice against a group. Racial discrimination is treating someone differently because of race. Racism, in its ordinary individual level usage, can mean racial prejudice or discrimination. The belief that racial characteristics justify inferior, superior treatment. But in sociology and some anti-racist frameworks, racism is also discussed structurally. Racial prejudice plus institutional social power. Under that framework, racism isn't simply somebody thinking black people suck. It's the ability of racial ideology to operate. No, I'll take that back. We're talking about, can black people be racist? And it says racial prejudice plus institutional social power. Under that framework, racism isn't simply somebody thinking white people suck. It's the ability of racial ideology to operate through institutions and structures in ways that systematically disadvantage another racial group. And black people can't do that. So no. And we can argue, but no. Black people can be prejudiced or bigots, but black people cannot be racist. Like Word Salad said, it's impossible. Black people do not have a power construct to stop anybody from doing anything. And if you disagree with it, I mean, you can disagree with it, but just look, all you got to do is look at the definitions. And I gave you the definitions going from prejudice to bigotry to racial discrimination to racism. There's a power dynamic that's associated with racism that disallows black people from having the ability to be racist. Because there's some people that if they could be racist, they would. But black people don't have the power construct to be racist. They can be bigots, they can be prejudiced, but black people cannot, by definition, be racist. Argue with Webster. Word Salad said, if you sit back and pay attention to who is causing the most unaliving via the war, then them, they have a problem with everyone on the planet, even themselves. Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily hear Africa attacking European nations. You don't necessarily see that. I don't think that there's I don't, to be honest with you, no melanated people have started a war with Europeans since Alexander the Great or Mansa Musa. No melanated people have started a war with a European nation since the times of Alexander the Great or Mansa Musa. That's how long it's been since a melanated country attacked a European nation. Think about that. Think about that. In modern times, no melanated country has attacked a European nation or America or Canada or Australia or England, France. Not one. When you really think about this, think about that. Think about that. No melanated country has attacked a European, Canadian, the United States. No melanated country has attacked nobody. In this timeline. Think about that. Think about that. I've never heard anybody talk about it framed how I just said it. In modern times, no melanated country has attacked a European country. None. Not in modern history. Dark Star, damn, we missed you, Dark Star. Glad everything is fine with you. It's been a minute. Dark Star, you in the military. Think about this. I just said something that I never heard anybody talk about it this way, Dark Star. But think about this, Dark Star. In modern history, no melanated country has attacked a European nation. No melanated country has attacked a European nation since Alexander the Great or Mansa Musa. That's crazy. When you think about that, that's crazy. No melanated country has ever initiated war on a European nation, Canadian, United States, England, France, Greenland, Ireland, in modern times. That is crazy. You never hear it framed like that. The framing is that black people are inherently violent, but no melanated country has ever initiated a war in modern times. That's wild. When you think about that. In modern times, yeah. No melanated country has initiated war since Alexander the Great, Mansa Musa. That's a but we are inherently violent. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Scorp, so black people don't need reparations? I mean, but the thing about it, Scorp, is regardless of how they spend it or what they do to it, people, yeah, black, man, we are due some reparations. Everybody else done got reparations for what they went through. And ain't nobody went through more than black people. So where are our reparations? Did nobody talk about the Chinese and how they was going to spend their money when they got it? Did nobody, most definitely didn't talk to the Jewish people about how they was going to spend their money with the reparations that they got. So why is it such a big deal when it comes to black people's reparations about how they going to spend it? It's their money to spend. Spend it how you please. I mean, yeah, you're right about that. But I would say that, Dark Star, I would say that that's more tribal war. I wouldn't say that that's full-scale war. I would just say that that's tribal war because they're not using bombs on each other. They're fighting with machetes and guns. Yeah, they don't have any means of destruction, no missiles, no none. So when you say that African countries attack African countries, I would say that that's more tribal warfare as opposed to conventional warfare. Dirt dog. Yeah, I will say that, yeah. I don't even this war, but that's all hand to hand and gun battles. Hand to hand warfare and gun battles. That's not rockets, missiles, and tanks. And no. So that's why I would say that everybody got reparations. Jews, Japanese, Germans, everybody got reparations. Didn't nobody worry about how they was gonna spend their money, what they was gonna do with it. But when it come to black people, oh, they ain't gonna do nothing with it. But it's their right to do whatever they want to do with it. Exactly, Scorp. Yeah. Native Americans as well. Yeah. Dirt dog, man. I was just saying, man, how it's crazy that in modern history, I'd say modern history, go back to 1800, modern history. No melanated country has attacked a European nation. No melanated nation has attacked a European nation since Alexander the Great and Mansa Musa. Think about that. Yeah, you right, Scorp. Everybody want the hookup. Exactly. Reparations in present day, the immigrants are set up with the Southland, and then they can get crazy credit. So yeah, man. I already know, Scorp. I already know, Scorp. Everybody, when it comes to black businesses, everybody want the hookup. Everybody wants your help, but everybody want the hookup. That's the truth. That's the truth. I'm gonna ask y'all, what the hell do we mean by power? When somebody says black people can't be racist because black people don't have the power, what power? What power are we talking about? When and could a black person, and this is hypothetical. No, it's not really hypothetical because there are instances of this, but a black person may lack dominant racial group power in American society while possessing substantial power within a particular institution or interaction. A black hiring manager has the power over an applicant. And I think that's why a lot of companies don't have black directors of recruitment, black men rather. A black police chief has institutional authority. A black landlord has power over a tenant. A black professor has authority over a student. So the question becomes, does racism require societal power or merely enough power to impose racial prejudice upon somebody else? I think you can have, as a black hiring manager, as a black police chief, as a black landlord, as a black professor, you can have that power. But we've all heard of the Negro moment. The moment that some Negroes find out that you're still Negro. So you can have that power. You can be the police chief. You can be whatever, the professor, the landlord, the police chief, the hiring manager. If you do certain things, you will get tapped. So even though, as a black person, you can have that power, one person can undercut that house of matchsticks. So yeah, black people can have that power, but they do not have the power to continuously do racist things to people without consequences. And that's the difference. That's the difference. Because some white people do things to black people unapologetically with no consequences. We got this uproar going on right now because, AKA the nigga wake up call. We got this uproar going on right now because some white person came out and said that there's a Facebook group with over 400,000 members. They're all servers and cooks and things of this nature. And they specifically said Golden Corral and I forgot the other. It's another form. It's another name for Golden Corral. But basically, these people said that when black people go to Golden Corral, or I forgot the Lucas's Steakhouse or something like that. Yeah, Trump ain't got nothing to do with this. That they are spitting in black people's food just because they're black and they came in Golden Corral. What's it Golden? It's Golden. It's another. I forgot the other one. Black people be going to them. Yeah, I can't think of. Hold on, y'all. Texas Roadhouse. I don't eat at those places. All it took for me was to go in there one time, and you walk in to where they take you to sit, and it wasn't nothing but peanut holes in there because people was eating peanuts and throwing their peanut holes on the ground after they had them in their mouth. So once I went in there, and it was just a whole bunch of peanut holes, and you got to walk and step all the stuff people had them holes in their mouth, I ain't never go back there. I never went back. I don't eat Texas Roadhouse. I don't eat Golden Corral. I don't eat none. I don't go to none of them places. I don't go to none of those places. I eat at home. These people said that they are spitting in your food just because you're black. That right there let me know I'm never going to Golden Corral. I'm never going to Texas Roadhouse. I ain't never been there, and I've been there one time, and I'm not going back. Exactly. The flames have been lit. We got to stay focused. But I don't eat at those places. Like I said, one of my jobs that I worked at, we went to Texas Roadhouse for lunch or some get together, and when we walked in, it was just they got peanuts. You go in and grab peanuts, a handful of them, and people was eating the peanuts and spitting the peanut holes on the ground. It was just peanut holes all over the place. I was like, nah, I don't eat. Nah, this is like a barn. I was like, nah, I ain't eating nowhere where people been spitting they peanut holes on the ground. Nah, I don't eat at them places. Score Mama said her ex was a cheap mofo and loved to take her to Golden Corral. Nah, I don't. Man. I have never. I can't. Yeah. I have never been in Golden Corral. And the one time I went to Texas Roadhouse, you spitting peanut holes in the lobby? Nah, that ain't nowhere I want to eat at. That ain't nowhere I want to eat at. I don't want to eat nowhere where people putting peanut holes in their mouth and eat the peanuts out and then put the holes on the ground. Nah, hell no. Nah, hell no. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be able to do it. I don't care how. Yeah, it was and that tells you how long it's been. Yeah, it was years ago. I didn't go back. I didn't go back. But if they spit in the peanut holes on the ground in the lobby, they probably are spitting on food. Allegedly. They probably, allegedly. Yeah, man, hell no. They might, Golden Corral, Texas Roadhouse, Lucas's Steakhouse, Cattleman. No, I'm not eating at none of them. It's the reason that they named it Cattleman. Because if y'all don't know, Cattleman was the name that was what white cowboys called themselves, cattlemen. Cowboys that was black, but it was cowboys. And then when cowboys got popular, they dropped cattleman and took cowboy. Yeah, I don't eat at none of them cattleman's steakhouse. I don't eat at none of this. Yeah, because I know the history behind the word cattleman. So I'm most definitely not going to no restaurant called Cattleman's Steakhouse because it's not for me. A lot of y'all black people got to read the room. Some of these places ain't meant for you to go eat. I'm sorry. You may want to just go eat there because you want to go eat there. Yeah, I don't eat in none of them places. Because I understand words mean something. And I know that cattleman was the white man's word for cowboy. Because white guys back in the 1800s white men didn't like to be called cowboy because the cowboys was the black men. Yeah, I'm not eating in none of them places. So they'll be spitting, they'll be practicing because I ain't never coming in there. But all you black people going to China buffet, yeah, I ain't spitting on no food in there. But yeah, that's just that is racist. To spit on somebody's food just because they're black. Yeah, y'all better stop going to these places. I'm going there. I had shit. They can't stop me from going in there and eating. Yeah, come on in there. Hey, there's his plate. It ain't funny. It ain't funny. Yeah, it ain't funny. They can't stop me from going out. Shit, my money spent too. My money green. Yeah, this spit white. Covered up with some mashed potatoes. Scoop and rub it in. Here's your plate. Yeah. They won't get me. I don't go eat at them places. Yeah. 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 Some of y'all got to read the room. Pick up a book. Know where them words came from. Yeah. Spitting in your food. You out there like, man, I can't wait to eat this food. And this a dude back there spitting on it. They done dropped your steak on the floor. Wow. They done stepped on them with them little black shoes with the heels showing that all them cooks be wearing. They done stepped on your steak. With them industrial Crocs. Steel toe. They got them steel toe Crocs them cooks be wearing. Yeah, they done stepped all on your steak. With them steel toe Crocs. This is the first episode of Color Codes, a look at racism. And tonight, we're defining what racism means and what bigotry means and what is the difference. Because as we go deeper in this conversation, we want a basis of what we're speaking of. And the question was, can black people be racist? Or are they just bigots? I said we, but I'm not bigot. Yeah, so yeah, that was an oxymoron. Let's accept the structural definition of bigotry for a moment. A black person says, I hate white people. They are evil, and I don't want to be around them. If racism requires systemic racial power, then under that framework, you might not want to call that racism. That is bigotry. It's not racism. It's racial bigotry. And calling it bigotry doesn't excuse it, but it's not racist. Racism is having the power to stop someone educationally, systematically, societal, anything with the power construct. Bigotry is just not liking a person because they're white or black. That's bigotry. Racial discrimination is you go in the Red Lobster for the all you can eat shrimp. And the first two plates they bring you 10 shrimp. And then you want some more, and they bring you out 3 shrimp. And then you say you want some more shrimp, and they bring you out 2 shrimp. That is racial discrimination, or just being nasty. Or you go somewhere and you want to get tickets to go in something. And there's still tickets, but you go to the ticket booth and they say, oh, we don't have any more tickets. I'm sorry, we don't have any more tickets. And then you walk away and then you see somebody else walk up and they buy the tickets. That's racial discrimination. That's not racist. That's just, they just didn't give you what you were supposed to get because you were black. That's racial discrimination. In racial bigotry, it's important to make that distinction between racism and bigotry, because sometimes the debate over terminology becomes a loophole. You hear people say, I can't be racist. And no, you can't be racist, but you can be a bigot. Neither one are good. They're both bad. But there's a difference. They're not the same thing. They do run parallel, but their definitions are markedly different. So next time you see somebody do something and you want to call them a racist, maybe you don't call them a racist, you call them a racial bigot. That is the proper definition to use. A racial bigot, not a racist. Because like I said, just by the definition, it has to be an institution or government or some type of power constraint that is holding people back because of their color. That is racist. Now, people can have racist ways when they follow that power construct, but I don't think that a person, an individual, can be racist unless they're a trillionaire. So yeah, don't call him a racist, call him a racial bigot. That's the proper definition. And a lot of people will say, does history change the classification? White racial prejudice in the United States didn't historically exist merely as interpersonal dislike. It was backed by government, law, property ownership, housing policies, voting restrictions, education, policing, banking. That's why saying a black person called me a cracker, therefore, that's exactly equivalent to Jim Crow, is historically ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Historically ridiculous. The scale, the power, and the consequences aren't remotely equivalent to somebody calling somebody a cracker. and the equivalent of Jim Crow. A lot of rappers are using the word cracker now in their songs. And I guess they're using that word to see if everybody will pick that word up. I don't think so. I don't think so. But I have been hearing a lot of rappers use the word cracker in their songs. And it's weird because nobody's been really saying anything about it. I don't think white people even care about that word. I've never called anybody that. Never called anybody that. I don't know. I like crackers. I like saltines. And there's this new movie coming out called By Any Means Necessary. And it's about a black investigator who teams up with a white mobster. I think he's Italian or something, Italian mobster, to go after racist people in the Deep South. And there's one particular scene, and it's in the basically it's in the advertisement that they've been using for the movie. And the black guy's driving, and he looks over at the Italian guy, and he says, "You got a problem with crackers?" And the Italian guy looks at him and says, "What?" And the black guy looks at him and says, "White people. White, bland, crackers." And then the Italian dude looks at him and says, "And square." And they both start laughing. I don't really think white people care about that word. It's not a word that I use, and I think that they don't care because if they cared, they wouldn't have it in that advertisement for that new movie that's coming out. And like I said, I've heard Snoop Dogg say it in his songs. I've heard the Clips. I've heard the Clips say it in their songs. I've heard Pharrell say it in his songs. So you don't hear people say anything about it. It's not a word I use. It don't have enough. If I was to call somebody that, it don't have enough. Yeah. That's kind of weak. Yeah. Not a word I would use, kind of corny. Yeah, but that's me. Wow. Squirt Mama said she never heard a white person called the word cracker until she moved to Florida. Now I've heard that. That's the word they used. I'm not gonna say it, but that's the word they used to use when I was young. Yeah, that P word they used. y'all wilding out. But yeah, just calling a person that, and that, yeah, it's nowhere near the scale of the equivalent to Jim Crow calling somebody that word. But it's all bad. But yeah, calling a person that word that ain't as bad as Jim Crow. But just thinking on those levels creates another question. Does unequal historical power mean the underlying racial prejudice gets a different name? I think it's just all racial bigotry. I don't think that we don't need another word to describe hate. I think we have hate, and that type of hate, I think we have it covered with enough words. I don't think we need a new word to define the underlying racial tone of something. I think we pretty much got that covered. Racism may operate on more than one level. Instead of pretending that racism has only one meaning, let's separate the levels. You got interpersonal racism, which is person to person. You got and with person to person, race determines judgment or treatment. Then you got institutional racism. And that's institution subverts a group. Rules, practices, or decisions systematically disadvantage people based on race. It's institutional racism. Then we have systemic racism. Multiple institutions and historical structures interact to produce persistent racial inequality. And here's the layman's term of that. A person can engage in racial bigotry or interpersonal racism without possessing societal power necessary to create systemic racism. And that's what I meant by a person can have racist ways, but they are not racist by definition. People been out here calling people racist, and that's not even the right word to use all this time. You need to call them a racial bigot. I think that hits. People don't really care about being called a racist, but people hate being called a bigot. You want to make somebody mad? Call them a bigot. They'll get more mad at that than you call them a racist. If racism equals prejudice plus power, who gets to define power? Or maybe the argument shouldn't be whether black people are capable of racism. Maybe the argument is whether we're talking about racism as an individual behavior or racism as a system of power. Which one are we talking about? Racism as an individual behavior or as a power construct? I think the power construct creates the racist ways. They know they got that power back in them when they act like that. Can you hate somebody because they're white and still claim you aren't racist? I don't think you're racist. I think you're a bigot or racist ways, but yeah, you can't be racist. Can't be a bigot. Can't be racist. I got a question for y'all. If racism requires power, does a black CEO suddenly gain the ability to be racist? Yeah, big. Yeah, that's yeah, their dog. Bigot sounds harsh. That's why people don't. Yeah, people don't care if you call them a racist, but you call a person a bigot. Ooh, wee. You might have to fight. Yeah, people. Yeah, racist is racist. I don't care about that. But you call somebody a bigot. Hey, April Showers, how you been? I checked out your show the other day, April Showers. You on the roll. You on the roll on your page, April Showers. You over, boy, April Showers. You on the roll. You on the roll. Dirt Dog said, when I was a kid, racist meant one concern with one's own race. Walk into a lunchroom, whites with the whites, blacks with the blacks. What's wrong with that? I don't think that's racist. I just think that's segregated. I think that's segregated. Yeah, the lunchroom was always I can't say yeah, it wasn't no white dudes that sat at the lunch table with us. Cause we was joking. We threw jokes. Yeah, then yeah, we had the joke. We had the all the jokers was at our lunch table. It was just a joke fest for an hour. And a lot of people didn't want to be subjected to that, especially the white dudes. But we did have one white dude, Chad, white boy Chad. He had about 4 goals. He lived in the hood. So yeah, white boy Chad didn't really count. Because white boy Chad he grew up in the PJs. White boy Chad. White boy Chad was white, but you couldn't fuck with white boy Chad if you wasn't from our name. You couldn't fuck with white boy Chad. Yeah, you right. You right. Yeah. Most people gravitated with their own. But I mean, a lunchroom is like a jail. In jail, people most definitely gravitate with their own. It's kind of like the lunchroom. You look at the lunchroom and you look at the recreation area of a jail, they kind of look alike. They kind of look alike. Yeah, it's sometimes it be a few, but it's always one white dude in the hood. It's always one white dude in the hood. Yeah, white boy chair had a whole grill of yeah, all this was gold. Yeah, I think white boy chair had some gold, and then he had an open face. Yeah, man, white boy chair. Yeah, you couldn't fuck with white boy chair. Yeah, man, white boy chair had an open face. White boy chair. But yeah, man, we're defining racism because in the coming weeks, now I'm going to jump into the changing face of racism. The changing face of racism. And on one hand, it's overt. Chud the Builder and his cronies all in your face, calling people niggas, nigga this, nigga that, nigga, and get millions of views. And people probably gonna get mad about this, but and then you got racists like Charlie Kirk, who try to change the racist dialogue to talking, to try to change talking points, but still racist, but just toned down and trying to on a philosophical, intellectual level, it's still racism. It's still racism. And we're, and where the reason that we're having another one of the reasons why we're having this conversation is the dynamics of racism are changing. It was always you vote for who you vote for, you support who you support, but that doesn't matter. We're friends, which I never really understood because voting is very secretive. Voting is very secretive. You're not really supposed to talk about who you vote for, but that kind of changed. It kind of changed. And with that change, people now are looking at who you support. If you support this dude, you must think like a racist. It didn't used to be like this. It didn't used to be like this. People didn't say, "Oh, I voted for Jimmy Carter. Oh, I voted for Reagan. Oh, fuck you, fuck racist." It wasn't like that. Oh, we got different policies, but we're still cool. No, it didn't get like that until this administration. And a lot of people say that Trump can't help who supports his policies. A lot of people will say Trump is not racist because racists like him. But why do the racists like him? Damn, he's a white fool. Who y'all talking about? Dirt Dog said he's a white fool. Damn, who y'all talking? Y'all wild. Y'all wild. But yeah, now if you are a supporter of Trump, people say you're, and I don't believe that. I never have believed that. I think people can support what candidate they want to support. And if racist groups like Donald Trump, that's no fault of his. But you can't be calling them, there's some fine, good people over there. You can't be saying that, Donald Trump. That's what makes people think you have racist ways. When you got this group that is a divisive group, and you say, oh, there's some fine Americans over there, people are going to look at you like, I know you say you're not racist, you don't have racist ways, but how can you? And a lot of politics now is going to there, which is bad. Because a lot of people that were friends before Donald Trump went in office, they're really not friends anymore, because people are like, if you support Donald Trump, I can't fuck with you. And society has changed. Dirt Dog said, that's not true. Most folks cannot effectively or rationally explain their political positions. Hell, most positions, yeah, I can. And I know you can too. But we not like most, Dirt. We We not like most because we are urban raised, but we can't explain our political position. So, yeah, he was. Hey, man, he was. Trump was once loved by the masses. People loved why I didn't particularly watch The Apprentice. I didn't like Omarosa. I didn't watch The Apprentice. But I know Donald Trump used to hang out with rappers and all this stuff. So that's what it trips me out is where this 180. I mean, even before Donald Trump was in office, he had he had previously talked about the Central Park Five. So I never understood what the enamor and what the love for Donald Trump was, because me historically, what I know about Donald Trump, he did a lot of bad stuff to black people. You can do this is what people don't understand. This is what people don't understand. And this goes for interracial marriages too. I mean, it's a viewpoint of interracial marriages as well. And this can be converse. Because there could be a white girl that loves and marries this black guy. But just because she loves and married the black guy, that don't mean everybody in her family is happy about it or they're going to change. They're happy for their family member, but that don't mean they're going to change the ways that they think. And on the other hand, a black guy cannot particularly like white people, and he could marry a white lady. And he may love that white lady, but that don't mean that he has an overarching love for all white people. And that is where nuances occur. And you can have instances of an interracial family and then a grandmother or grandfather or somebody calling a little black baby the N-word. Stuff like this happens. Stuff like this happens. But that is life. I don't like all black people. People are going to be people. And I hate to say, I don't hate to say it. I would rather a person be outwardly racist as opposed to hiding it. Because just because this person is racist don't mean we can't work together, we can't cooperatively do something. Now, our friend groups and what we do apart from whatever we do at work or whatever, that's our personal life. I'm not trying to figure out no, but see, but they got this notion at work where everybody's got to be cool and everybody got to hang out at work and everybody got to. No, everybody don't. I work with y'all, but I don't want to hang out with nobody. That's what people don't understand. The truth does not bother me. I would rather somebody be truthful with me. I'd rather know you don't like black people. We work together. That's the least of my worries. Right. Third, I said 100%. I want to know who I'm dealing with. I'm not used. I don't like that sneak hate. We got to work together, and we can work together. But if I'm telling you, I have worked with white people. We at work, we speak, laugh, joke, talk about basketball, talk about football. I see him in public. Hey, just walk right past. And then I see him at work Monday. Hey, man, did you watch the? Yeah, motherfucker, I saw you at the mall and I walked right past you and spoke. I mean, I'm saying it in my head, not to their face. But yeah, some people are cordial at work, but if you see them in public, they don't got nothing to say to you. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. We got this people. We are soft now. I just know. We cool at work. We speak at work. If I see you in public, don't say nothing to me. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, it is crazy, Dirt. It is crazy. But yeah, I was at work. Hey, what you do? Oh, I'm not doing. Hey, I'm watching the football game. Oh man, I'll see you Monday. Hey. And I was at the mall and I seen dude. I was like, Joe. Like I know he heard me. I know he heard me. I didn't have black people. I'm just saying, yeah, man. Hey, man. Just because we work together and we cordial at work, man, that don't mean we cool. And I'm good with that. I don't have no problems with that. I don't have no problems with somebody being racist. I'd rather know. That's me. I'd rather know. I know who I'm dealing with. We work together. That's about it. I see you in public. Don't say nothing to me. Don't come up to me. Don't. Yeah. And I'm cool with that. I don't have no problems with that. I would rather know. But some people will get mad. Some people will get mad and they'll be like, oh, I ain't speaking to that motherfucker at work. Yeah, and you'll get fired. People, man, we at work. Work ain't no family. People say, oh, it's my work family, it's my work husband, my work wife. I don't want none of that shit. I work. I'm here with y'all 8 hours a day. I don't want no work wife. I don't want no work cousins. I don't want no work grandmama. I don't want no work mama. I just want to work with y'all and go home. I don't need all that. I don't want to go out to drinks and man. Yeah, I don't want no work mamas, no work wife. No, yeah, I don't want none of this shit. I don't want none of this shit. That shit cause problems. And we were talking about the changing face of racism and how racism and racist ideologies and thoughts, they're putting it out there as intellectuals. You got before Charlie Kirk passed away, he was going around and he was debating people based off of racist ideology. And he was basing it on we're having a debate. Well, you can still use racist ideologies and racist talking points in a debate. You can sound smart. You can sound intellectual, but it's still racist talk. And we got this thing now where, if it sounds intellectual and it sounds smart, it's not racist. No, it's still racist. Just because you can eloquently speak it and you don't have a hood on and you don't got 30 dudes behind you in fatigues, and it's still racist. So the tone and the shift and the delivery of racist ideologies is changing. And we must change how we look at it. Yes. You can be intelligent and speak intelligently, and sometimes it's not even intelligently. And you can say things and you can use these, and you don't use the N word, and you don't, but you can still have racist talking points. And that is the changing face of racism. We're setting the baseline in this first of where racism was, what is the definition of racism, what is the definition of bigotry, where did it come from, where is it going, and how is it covert? And those are the things that we're going to talk about going forward. Hit the like button. First time I said it's like, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Share this video out. Subscribe to the page. Shouts out to my people on Twitch, man. Twitch showed out. I got 34 followers on Twitch for the fight show Saturday night. Twitch is showing out. Shouts out to everybody watching on Facebook. Shouts out to most definitely shouts out to the Maas Apeal family, the people right here in the chat. If you're not here watching on YouTube, you need to be over here in this chat with these people talking, because yeah, they talking some stuff. You right. And that's how many folks get bamboozled. That's slick talk. Slick talk is not reserved for just black dudes. There's some slick talking white dudes out here, and some of them are racist. But they still slick talkers. Yeah, man. Some of the best slick talkers was snake oil salesmen. And snake oil, and wasn't no black man selling snake oil, because wasn't no black man knocking on no white man's door trying to sell anything. Hey man, I used to always them slick talking white insurance salesmen when I stayed at my great grandmother's house. Them slick talking white insurance salesmen that wasn't scared to come to the hood, they made a whole lot of money in the 70s and the 80s. Because if you wasn't scared to go to the hood, them slick talking white dudes could get you to buy some insurance. I watched it. Until one day my granddad was like, "Get the hell out of my house." And the white man didn't come back no more. But yeah, slick talking is not just reserved for people from the hood. It's some slick talking suburban guys. Charlie Kirk was a slick talking dude. R.I.P. Didn't agree with you, but R.I.P. But Charlie Kirk was a slick talking white dude. And people ate it up. Now we have a case where people like Charlie Kirk and people like some of these people that are outliers that are half, people say they're racist, but they're not racist. Hell yeah, he was a slick talking white dude. Man, white dude was a slick man. I'd watched some of his debates. That was a slick talking white dude. Slick talking. Joel Osteen, slick talking white dude. It's some slick talking white dudes out here. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Ben Franklin was one of the slickest talking white men in history. I love Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin was a ladies' man. And if it's a black dude out here doing it, it's a white man that did it too. Believe that. Believe that. Believe that. So yeah, man, I didn't see them. And yeah, you got them little missionary dudes that ride them bikes. They be in the hood. Yeah, they missionaries. They slick talking. They don't send squares to the hood to talk to black people. They send people, yeah, we know he can handle himself. You give him the bike. You give him his white button up. Yeah, man, go down there to the hood, convert some of those people. Yeah, they don't send squares. They send slick talkers. Slick talkers in religion, it's slick talkers in politics, and it's slick talkers in the general public. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, man, it's some slick Benny Hinn. There's some slick talking white dudes out here. Don't never get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. some slicksters out here. Some slicksters out here. Slickstering ain't reserved for just black people. Believe that. Believe that. Racism as content. In the beginning of the summer, they was getting away with doing this stuff. The people like Chud the Builder. There's a few others. One of them got killed. He said something. Yeah, one of those guys going calling people the N-word. One of them got killed. But people are using racism. People are using racism as content. Racism is content. Yeah, man. Prosperity theology, man. Hey, any man, and this is not for all pastors. There are some good pastors out there. But any man that can talk some ladies out they check, out they social security check, that's a slick talker. It's a slick talker. It's a slick talker. Yeah. Slick talker. Yeah. Yeah, that's another show. Talking about these slick talking preachers, that's a whole nother show. But yeah, racism as content. People are getting paid for being racist now. People are getting rewarded for racist activities. We got the one lady in I think it's Milwaukee. She called the little boy with Down syndrome the N-word because he grabbed one of her son's toys and she called him the N-word and he was a thief, and she got arrested and she got charged. She raised over $1 million for being racist, for calling that little boy a nigga unapologetically and saying she was racist. Yes, I'm racist. He's a nigger and the nigger touched my stuff and she got over $1 million in her damn GoFundMe. I can't get nobody to give me $25. This lady got people give her $1 million because she called a little black boy a nigga. Then other people saw, oh shit, they gave her $1 million for calling that little boy a nigger. So then you get Chud the Builders. Then he's getting paid. Then you got all these people. Everybody wants to. Now you just got copycats out here, but they getting their ass whooped. They going to the wrong hoods. They going to the wrong hoods. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, some places you go, you can get that off. You're not going to be able to get that off on everybody. They're getting their ass kicked. Yeah, man. Racism is best done behind a camera on the internet like this. Don't go down to the hood calling people the N-word. Yeah, some little dude was, thought he could do that. They whooped his ass. Don't let Chud the Builder get y'all ass whooped. Don't let your irrational racist thoughts get your ass kicked. This is new age of racism as content. If I go out here and I'm man enough to call some black people to niggas in their face, I'm gonna get people that's gonna follow me. That's not a good revenue stream. That revenue stream, you better have some health insurance. Because everybody not going. Everybody's not going. And everybody don't have the rationale to just ignore you. Some people gonna put their hands on you. And you might sue them, you might get them arrested, but you damn sure gonna take that ass whooping. Save yourself an ass whooping. Just be a racist behind the camera. Don't go out into the public antagonizing people, because you never know. And now you know, and the thing about that is, through all out history, there have been white people who have supported slaves and black people, abolitionists. They whooping on racists now. So even though you all are empowered by the orange man, and we're not saying that he's a racist, but he has empowered the racists through his legislation, through some of his talking points, and through different means of communication. He has stoked his constituents, and some of his constituents, a lot of his constituents, are white supremacists. Just, I'm not saying anything that's bad. I'm not saying anything that's false. I'm saying the truth. Those people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th, 4 years ago, those are Trump's supporters. And you people that wearing these makeup, another black guy, Trump supporter, was at a Trump rally with his Make America Great gear on and everything, and he got his ass whooped. Because those people that whooped his ass let their racist, intrusive thoughts get the best of them. He's on your team, but he's black, and they whooped his ass. There's no other way to say it. Black Trump supporter at a Trump rally with other Trump supporters gets his ass whooped for being a Trump supporter. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this up. Yeah. And had people, yeah. But think of, I try not to say that Donald Trump has racist, intrusive thoughts, but he does. And there's no way around it. And we can't tiptoe around it. He does. He does. This dude put $500 million up for people that felt like they were wronged by the government. But we can't get reparations. These dudes got wronged on one day, January 6th. And you put up $500 million funds so they can get the money if they felt like they was treated bad. We've been getting treated bad for 400 years. We need some reparations. But no, we don't get no reparations. But you get $500 million away for the people who stormed the, and then you wonder why people call you racist. You can't make this shit up. We are fighting for reparations over the stuff that we have gone through for over 400 years. And these people got arrested and put in jail for storming the Capitol building. And Donald Trump wants to put $500 million set aside so that those people can get some money if they felt like the government wronged them. Get the hell out. And as a black person, how are you supposed to look at that? As a black person, how are you supposed to look at that? I don't know. But we have set the baseline. We have defined what racism is. We have defined what bigotry is. And as we go down this road looking at racism and prejudice, now we have a baseline for the communications that come in the future. I got nowhere near through all the information that I was trying to get through tonight. They let those folks run wild. I didn't get a chance to get through all the information, but this is a series, so We will pick this series up right here where we left off next week. Color codes. A detailed look at racism. I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation tonight. We got to get these 4,000 watch hours. We got to get these 4,000 watch hours before February 1st. I need y'all to go check out one of those videos, put one of those playlists on play, minimize it, go about your business, let it play in the background. But we got to get these 4,000 watch hours before February 1st. I need y'all's help.
Lab
I
Addicts
do this
Music
without
Group.
y'all. Y'all the reason I come back and do this. If I don't get 4,000 watch hours by February 1st, I can guarantee y'all I'm not going to be an indentured soldier, indentured servant for YouTube. So we got to get these hours so I can get monetized. Help a brother out. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Y'all said there was no more racism. Tonight we showed you that it is still here. We'll be back Thursday with part 2 of Color Codes. It's your boy Maas Apeal. I'm out.